So for today's video, I'm going to break from the norm, for my norm specifically, and try to do a quick response video. I do think I've talked about this in the past, but I've always been really anxious about posting response videos. And just in case I haven't mentioned why, it's fully just how my brain works. I'm always afraid that if I post something like this and I end up talking about one person more than the others, that people are going to assume that I prefer that person's content over everybody else's, which is not the case, but that is kind of what my brain does. Which logically I know is silly, but that is what my brain does, which is why I don't tend to do response videos. But I'm going to try to break out of that, at least for this weekend. I'm not saying that this is going to be a weekly thing, but for this weekend, I am going to at least try. Alicia, you are unique in that you are the only one wherein the video that I'm going to respond to here is also one that I commented on. And admittedly, that's mostly just because I don't tend to comment on videos. But I can't not talk about IF Comp. I think my very first introduction to interactive fiction was Thy Dungeon Man from Homestar Runner and its subsequent sequels. And I didn't realize there was an entire competition about it. And I'm upset with myself for not knowing about that sooner, but I am incredibly grateful that you let us know about it. Now again, I haven't had a lot of time to do much with it because it was Tech Week last week, and then I went into a show because that's how Tech Week works. But I did start playing the very first game that you mentioned, Miss Gosling's Last Stand, before I started filming. I'm not very far into it, but I'm enough into it to know just how much there is, and this is just the first game that you mentioned, let alone anything from this year or any of the other games that have been made throughout the course of this entire competition. So there's a lot. There's just a lot of content for me to explore, and I am very happy. So yeah, I'm mentioning it again because I don't think I can thank you enough for introducing me to this. Caleb, you amaze me because sometimes you make an entire video in the span of less than a day. I am specifically referring to your High School Musical theme park. First of all, the content itself is obviously fantastic, but there's just something about the fact that I know that you watched Tessa's video from the day before, and then in the span of less than 24 hours, came up with the idea, filmed the idea, and then edited the idea. I think I might be the only VEDSy here that doesn't really like editing, so I can't imagine doing all of that in such a short period of time. Because that's a lot of work, so I don't get it. I would not be able to do that, so it's amazing. Graham, I am always here for a dog video. Like, yes, obviously I like all the other content too, but I am a sucker for dogs, and your dogs are very adorable. So, thank you for allowing us to go on your walk with Coda. It was wonderful, it was fantastic, it gave me a nice little hint of dopamine, so thank you for that. James, sometimes you're watching a video where someone is talking about the SpongeBob SquarePants musical, and you know full well that literally the next day, you yourself are posting a video where you are singing a song from the SpongeBob SquarePants musical. Like you said, it's just one of those fun happenstances that happens every now and then during events. But also I think your opinion on the SpongeBob SquarePants musical kind of reflect my own. When I first heard that there was going to be a SpongeBob SquarePants musical, I wasn't really sure how to feel about it. I grew up with the show. It came out in 1998 when I was 7 years old, so it was a big part of my childhood. And so I didn't know how well that it would work. And then I listened to the music, and I was like, oh, it actually works remarkably well. And it was fun hearing your opinions on it, specifically the same general idea of you didn't really like it at first, but then more you dived into it, the more you realized that it was actually pretty good, and it worked really well. Pip. Obviously, I knew about this whole idea where you were going to record a video every month between last VEDS and this one. And I do think it's a really cool idea, but the video that I am specifically going to mention here is your commenting anxiety one. I know how incredibly anxious you were about this video, and not just because you mentioned it in the video itself, and also that you mentioned it in Discord, but because I live with you, so I know how anxious you were about this. And the fact that you were able to power through and still post it is honestly really inspiring. And I don't just say that lightly. That is partly why I am making this very video, because you are able to get past your anxieties, and so I wanted to try to get past mine. Also, less sappy, I forgot that I was in February's video. Sometimes you're watching your videos and then your past self shows up and you're not expecting it. And finally, Tessa. Much like I am always here for dog videos, I am also always here for book recommendations. And honestly, all those books that you listed sound phenomenal, and I am going to be looking up every single one of them. But as for my book specifically, you had me at the title. Literally, you just said the Christmas Jigsaw Murders, and I out loud went, oh. And that was before you went into the plot, where it's a murder mystery, and there are literally puzzles for you to solve. And it's just, it's everything. It's everything that I want, and everything that I need, and I need it in my life right now. But realistically, I don't know when I'm actually going to read this book, because again, I am going into a show very soon, and then I have a lot of interactive fiction to catch up on. But once all that is done, I am going to find this book. So whether or not there's going to be a video about it this month, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get around to reading it. But trust me when I say, it is going to happen, and when it does, I will make a video about it. So that is that. I am going to wrap up this video so that I can edit it, which I have previously established that I don't like as much, but it's going to happen, and it's going to be out by Sunday, and everything's going to be great. So, to my friends and fellow VEDSies, I will see all of you, or at least a version of me will, tomorrow.